I'm thinking I'm back. So let me tell you why I think there are similarities between Super Bowl 57 and UFC 284. Okay, you're probably thinking, Rob, apples and oranges, shit, you know? Okay, the similarities between the main event at UFC 284 and Super Bowl 57 is that they were both marred by the ending of the game or the fight. See, Super Bowl 57 was a good game. I mean, it was a tie ball game in the last, going into the last couple minutes of the game. Uh, Back and forth. I mean, exciting, competitive. Just you were seeing the skills and more importantly, the wills and the determination of the players. And they were giving you everything they had. The long season battling through injury, all that stuff. So you were getting the best. You had literally two best teams. The two best teams in the league were squaring off against each other, and you had the two top MVP vote getters. So it was literally pound for pound matchup, right? You had a pound for pound matchup between the Philadelphia Eagles and the Kansas City Chiefs, and they delivered. They went blow for blow. It was a great game up until that questionable call. And I don't even have to mention it because we all know what it is. It's not one of those things where you have to be a Philadelphia homer to think that it was questionable. It's just football fans everywhere are just saying, man, they're calling it rigged. That shit is rigged. You know, it's very frustrating to watch, right? You see that clearly it didn't look like the penalty could have affected that play, and they called it, and we've seen the outcome of the game and how it affected the potential results of that. Now you switch over to 284. You're saying, how is that similar to Volk versus Makachev, Rob? Well, it's similar in this way. Same thing with Volk and Islam. They were going at it. Good competitive fight. It went the whole 5 rounds, and it was just nice back and forth action. You had good exchanges on the feet. You had a nice demonstration of wrestling and grappling. You had literally the two top pound for pound guys in the sport going at it. They were both on long win streaks. They were both considered number one and number two for pound for pound. Great fight. A fan favorite type of fight. Like if you're a fan of the sport and you just want to see a demonstration of how it's supposed to be, well, that's a fight for you to watch, right? And then the decision happens, and you have a lot of people similarly thinking that it was a bad decision. They didn't like the way Islam got the win. So you had two great sporting events. The Super Bowl is the ultimate game of the season for any NFL season that determines the champion. We all know that. UFC 284, the headliners, Volk versus Islam. It was the Super Bowl. Someone even tweeted, I don't know who it was, but when the fight was getting started, the Super Bowl is tonight. So we were treated to great competitive matchups, battles. You saw skill, will, heart, technique. You saw game plans being changed mid-game. You saw that happening in the Super Bowl and in 284. And it was everything that the fans wanted it to be up until the decision, the deciding factor. I know it's different in UFC 284 with a fight. The judges decide after the action. Well, you actually decide after each round. So by the time you get to that last round, you know who's winning and what this last round is going to determine. But the point being is that most people enjoyed the fight, didn't like the way it ended. Same with the Super Bowl. Everybody loved it. It was great. It was blow for blow, hit for hit, score for score, and it just ended badly. And just to elaborate a little bit on the ending of Super Bowl 57, the reason that was bad, see, from when I was watching it, point is neither of my teams, no teams that I have heart for were in the game. So I didn't really care. It was just about the entertainment for me. I'm watching the game and okay, the Eagles have been getting beat up all quarter long. They just got scored on twice in a row by the same move, just flipped in a different direction, like straight up old school tech mobile style. I'm running this play, it's working. They're figuring it out. So I'm just literally gonna flip to the other side. They did that twice on them, they scored. So the Eagles did their thing finally and held them out of the end zone and held them to a field goal. And then all of a sudden you see a flag come in. And it's just the game's over at that point because, if the Chiefs kick the field goal like they did, but they do it with a little under 2 minutes left, Obviously, you give Jalen Hurts and the Eagles a chance to manufacture a drive and possibly get into field goal range to tie the game, to send it to OT, or even score a TD to win the game on a last minute game winning drive. The Philadelphia Eagles were robbed of that opportunity from a questionable call. And so were the fans. Like, that would have been much more exciting than seeing Jalen Hurts try to manufacture an 8-second drive. That wasn't going to happen. For all intents and purposes, the game was over. Now, with UFC 284 main event, Volk versus Makachev, yeah, you could say similar to the ticky tackness of he grabbed his jersey and all that kind of thing. It didn't affect the outcome of that play. He was never going to reach that ball, so the flag should have never been thrown. Not to mention it was thrown late. You got people saying, "Oh well, Makachev had ground control, and he was dominant and he had more takedowns." Yeah, but what did he do with those takedowns? Did it like really? He didn't had zero sub attempts, so they used to call that lay and pray back in the day, when you just got someone in a good position and you're afraid to go for something. I mean, there was hand fighting. He was trying to crank the neck or get a rear naked choke, but it literally he had zero sub attempts, which means he didn't really try to get a rear naked choke, because that would be considered a sub attempt. But he was in a position to try. And due to point is it seemed like his ground control was somewhat inconsequential, even though it played a heavy role in the scorecards. Now that's up to debate. It's about what you like. Do you like when football is determined by referees and flags and ticky-tack calls that have no real bearing, no real outcome on the play at hand? Do you like when flags and penalties and rules interfere with the organic play of the players, the actual people that should determine the outcome of the game? Do you like when that happens? I don't. Do you like that, although you can, if you're that type, say, hey, Islam had ground control, more time on the ground control. So therefore, yeah, the judges got it right. I mean, I don't know. I thought it was a close fight. I thought Volk won personally, not necessarily on rounds. Sometimes the points, like, you got a 10-point system, you could get, you know, a 10-8 round. You could have a tie round. There doesn't always have to be a winner or a loser in a round. You could both have a 10. You know what I mean? Anyways, that's a different topic for a different video for how combat sports, boxing, and MMA is scored. But anyways, those are the two similarities I saw with UFC 284 and Super Bowl 57. Great, combative, competitive, fan favorite, everything that we want in a fight, in a game. But just the ending was just a little messed up. And just, instead of walking away completely satisfied, there's a little bit of a bad taste in everybody's mouth. I'm no expert. I just call it how I see it. And until next time, UNO.